Sunday, July 23rd. The Dome Foamers podcast is back, and I'm your host, Christian Kruger. As always, I'm here with Neil Miefke and Brian Dorton. We're just lifelong Astros fans who love talking about the Astros. So, boys, let's go. Before we get started, our title sponsor is Two Gringos Chupacabra Rub and Seasonal. Two Gringos makes the finest rub, salsa, chips, jerky, and marinade you've ever tasted. And if you haven't tried their products, please do today because you don't know what you're missing. The main thing you need to know about Two Gringos Chupacabra products is that they are so good because they only use the finest ingredients and never, ever take shortcuts when it comes to quality. This is why we are proud to have Two Gringos Chupacabra as our title sponsor. You can find them at your local grocery stores in your area or on their website at twogringoschupacabra.com. That's the number 2, gringoschupacabra.com. Well, boys, it's episode 13.
Hello.
And our international traveler is back from his homeland.
Sláinte.
Brian Dorton, how are you doing?
Man, I am great to be back on U.S. soil. I had a great trip. Sometime in the next 4 weeks or so, I'll probably get back to regular time zone stuff. But until then, come on, let's do this.
Well, Dorton is our IT guy. Dorton is our IT guy for the podcast, our edit individual. So we're also glad to have him back, and we're glad he survived the Guinness and Jameson and everything in between over in Ireland.
Oof. There was a couple. There were a couple, I'll admit.
So the three amigos are back. Here we are for episode 13. Season standings for the Astros are 56-44. 3 games back, 4-2 for the week, which I'll give Neil props. He said 4-2. I said 5-1 because I wanted to be right. We should have been 5-1. We should have been 6-0. But before we dive in, Neil, I'm going to start with you as always, and we'll kick it to Brian. Get you a nice little tip check for the week and what we're going to get involved in with this week.
Yeah, I mean, this week was, like I said, I anticipated 4-2, again 5-1. That could have happened very, I say easily, but you know, it's just who we are. It's what we've got in our locker room, who we've got in our locker room, I should say. We're just not just going to walk out and without a fight, just beat people like the A's, like with no problem. And I know we think we should, but the reality is we're just we're a Yordanless and Altuve-less team, and we're not the 2022 World Series team right now. And so to say we walked away 4-2, 6-3 on the road trip coming out of the break, I can definitely live with the 6-3 or 2 out of 3 for the rest of the year. I mean, I'd take that right now. The problem is we're not going to be playing the A's, the Rockies, and the Athletics every 9 games. So the reality is the next 6 games is going to tell us a little bit more about us. I'm not saying it locks us in one way or the other, but you know, tomorrow we start the series with the Rangers, and those 3 games, again, they're not make or break, but I do think winning one, sweeping, if we sweep or if they sweep, I think that does change momentum one way or the other. But I'm not about to say this 3-game series against the Rangers is the say all end all. But I do think this next 6 games are important because they're A, at home, B, against top quality teams, playoff teams, and how we fare in those 6 games could put pressure or take pressure off of Dana Brown as the trade deadline comes closer to us in 7 days. So I'm okay. I'm middle of the road right now. Looking forward to this week to see where we go and what moves are made.
All right. I want to respond, but I'm not. I'm going to give our fearless international traveler the floor first. So, Brian Dorton,
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, tell me a temperature check since you've been traveling and catching up and so forth. What do you think?
Well, I got to see a little bit of yesterday's game, and I watched today's game. And before I get even started, big shout out to AT&T Sportsnet yet again for making it super easy to watch the Astros when you're not at home, or God forbid you do go out of the country. I mean, listen, I'm not a proponent for, illegal streaming or illicit ways of streaming this, but
Here comes the
my goodness, watching them in a legal way without having to be a subscriber to a big giant DirecTV or Verizon or whatever and dishing out all that money is dang near impossible unless you you have some pretty decent infrastructure set up. And again, really appreciate that ATT Sportsnet.
Do you think it's just them, or is it them and the carriers such as DirecTV and so forth?
Well, I think if I had DirecTV, I'd be able to watch them no problem, but I don't feel the need to spend hundreds of dollars a month to watch one channel, and that's what I would be doing, right? And so the idea is, boy, I'd just love to just pay for.
Hey, you cut the
Astros.
cord before I did, and I cut the cord after you did, and we bounced around places to find the Astros. Yep.
And I mean, we found Fubo.tv, and Fubo.tv is great here. And to be honest, it's been wonderful. I love it for college football, and I love the fact that I can just cut it off at the end of football season before the Astros start. But you can't watch that overseas. I was able to tunnel into a VPN a couple of times and try and catch some games during their afternoon games. But, that's just presupposing that everyone has a VPN connection that they can just tunnel into and then watch Fubo.tv. So anyway, I do think that it is mostly ATT Sportsnet and whatever arrangements they have with both the Astros and MLB that is restricting everything. So this is just
for everyone that wants to travel international that's an Astros fan listening to this growing podcast, you now know what you're going to have to do or figure out to watch the Astros.
Hit me up. I've got some tips. I was able to watch a little bit. I did do some of the Lord's work while I was over there and put Astros hats on at least 6 or 7 kids and cousins. And so
and we picked up new listeners from the beautiful country of Ireland, as we've seen on our podcast.
And real quick, let me give a shout out to Shane and Brian and Connor. I know you boys are going to be listening. So had a great time.
What a name. Boy, those aren't some Irish names, are they?
They're great guys, man. Great guys. I mean it. They really are. So temp wise, boy, yesterday was just an offensive juggernaut, it seemed. And today, we struggled. It took a Mauricio bomb to beat the A's today. So I think it seems as though our offense is a little bit on the struggle bus there, but let me get caught up. Let me get my feet underneath
Sure.
me and let's get going.
Yeah. So, man, we score a bunch of runs against the Angels. We go to Colorado and don't score very many runs. Then we play the worst, and by worst I mean the worst pitching staff in all of baseball historically. They're one of the worst, and we cannot score and manufacture runs. What's weird, though, that I do want to touch on before we give the overview is we had a DH that was hitting 125. We had someone in the lineup hitting 130. By the way, these are different players. And we had one of our best hitters on the bench. So
It seemed like lineup issues, if you ask me.
There's so many. Like we could take the next 2 hours and talk about them, because those are just some of them. And look, I'm sorry, I haven't even brought up the fact that Greg Kessinger hit leadoff. That I haven't talked about him yet.
That's insane.
I have no problem with Dubon getting a day off. I really don't. And the person that's going to probably play for him is Kessinger. I understand totally. He's played every game. He's been a grinder. You can tell he's regressed some because he's been playing every day. He's coming back to the mean, with the exception of hitting the big home run today. But look, he's been extremely valuable. So we get that. Like, I don't have a problem there. But why is his replacement, who belongs in AAA, have to bat leadoff? Why?
I don't know. I don't get that either. I really don't know.
And then we DH a guy hitting 125 in the major league in front of Maldonado. So I know I either sent this to our group text. I didn't know if you were still flying, Dorton, or maybe I sent this to Neil. Our 8 and 9 hitters batting average was a combined 285 yesterday. Combined.
Oh my God.
And then today, to top it off, we put Corey Julks 2, who's in a 2 for 35 slump and an 0 for 18 slump, and doesn't walk at 2, because the Jeremy Pena experience at 2 needs to be just absolutely blown completely up. That was a last year thing. That doesn't work anymore.
I'm over it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, that's done.
But then we have Blige Madras hitting 6th in front of Chaz. Like, and Diaz, by the way. Like,
what was Diaz? Diaz was hitting 8?
Was hitting 8? I don't even remember anymore. Yesterday, he didn't play the last 2 days. Because he wasn't hitting. Yeah, Brady was hitting 5. Madras was 6. Chaz, the reigning AL Player of the Week, thank you, was 7, and Diaz was 8.
Jesus, that doesn't make any sense.
Man, we just went.
And this is
none.
the same.
Makes
this
0.
is the same. Diaz is sitting behind the same catcher that is at 165 now, I think.
He was 165 going into today, and so he didn't play today.
Yeah.
So he's still at 165. But and look, I don't want to spend, because we could spend 2 hours on this, but I'm gonna say one thing and then y'all can react to it. Last night in the 9th inning on the struggle bus, we pinch hit for our 8, 9, and 1 hitters. I don't know if I've ever seen 3 pinch hitters in a row. And I've watched a lot of baseball. But my point being is, if you're pinch hitting for your leadoff hitter, should your leadoff hitter be your leadoff hitter?
Yep.
Yeah.
And the problem is that they're all about the same. I mean, other than Maldi, who's just really bottom of the barrel. I mean, there's not a lot of difference. I mean, we're just pinch hitting to give guys the opportunity to hit.
Can I ask both of y'all a question? You say yes or no to these. I'll go real fast.
All right.
Is Greg Kessinger a major league hitter?
No.
Is Blige Madras?
I don't know enough about him.
No.
Okay, fair. Is Maltine Maldonado?
No.
Absolutely
So
not.
we chose. Oh, is David Hensley?
Oh,
He's
So
the
we've
best out of the
chose-
four.
I guess if I had to, if I had to choose one of those four, it would be Hensley begrudgingly.
Yeah, I was going to say. So we've started 4 players the last 2 days that are not major league hitters. And both of those games, or the 2 games prior, we had Diaz on the bench who went tank job today in his first game back
Yep.
Yeah.
But he's rested.
and almost hit a pinch hit home run last night.
Well, the good news is he's going to get another 4 days rest. So
Yeah.
in our next, in the
Oh my gosh!
after the,
See, I knew-
after the Rangers, he's going to be great.
So I don't want to make
But
this
this
about
is-
Martin. I don't want to make this about Martin Maldonado, but he is batting 163. Okay. In his last 7 games, he's batting 115. His last 15 games, he's batting .098. 51 at bats, 5 hits. His last 30 games, 94 at bats, 10 hits, which is good for a .106 batting average. His slugging average in all 3 of those categories is the highest is 269, which is the last 7 games. So it's
Okay.
time. It's
yeah.
past time.
So none of that surprises me, right? We've talked about it for weeks on the podcast.
sure.
You may blow your mind now. I had this ready because I knew we were going to get into this. Oh, I'm about to. So all those numbers that's how horrible offensively he is. Do you know that he leads the major leagues in pass balls, and that when I looked yesterday, he was -8 runs saved as defensive position of catcher, which is one of the worst in baseball.
Yeah.
Doesn't shock me at all.
I started looking deeper into the Twitters, which I don't recommend most people doing, and I hate doing it myself. But after looking, I started seeing some stats that were highly disconcerting because his only upside is defense, right? Like we can,
Correct.
everybody can
Was.
agree with this. Was his only upside was defense. The reason that he's out there is he's the captain of the field and he's the best defensive catcher in the world, and et cetera, et cetera. But man, if that's not true, why is he out there?
Well, I'm going to recap this for you, Dorton, because we briefly mentioned this on one of the ones while you were gone. But since you're here, I'm going to take it a step further. Every starting pitcher, with the exception of Fromber, because Yonder Diaz has never caught Fromber. So, okay. Every other starting pitcher has a lower ERA when Diaz is the catcher as opposed to when Maldy's the catcher.
Oh boy.
That's a little bit weird to me. That's weird.
Oh boy. Okay.
There
He
is
sucks.
he is catching on one team in Major League Baseball and only one team. And it's the one that this manager that people want to say on social media is like, well, we won the World Series last year. This guy is a fraud and an absolute moron. That's how far I'm going with this. He is a moron. There's no numbers that can back up what he's doing. 0.
Correct.
All right.
I can't argue with you. I can't. No,
We said what a month ago before Dorton left for the homeland. Sabotage. It is straight sabotage. Okay.
To what end?
Yep.
To what end?
Because to be stubborn, to be him, because he thinks he knows all. Yeah, that's a great question, Dorton. I don't know either, and no one does. But he got a general manager fired last year. Like, what is he like? That is a great question that no one has the answer for. To what end?
That's interesting.
All right. So let's talk about the positives.
All right. Yeah.
Because we got on a rant, right?
Yeah.
Look, I don't want to celebrate this until I see him in the lineup. But for those that are, this video, we're gonna put this on our channel. Dorton's background is your daddy, meaning Yordan Alvarez. Everything is pointing to he's gonna be in the lineup tomorrow night. Again, I am not gonna celebrate that till I actually see him in the lineup and he's not scratched for an illness or something. Actually, I'm not gonna celebrate it till he shows up to the plate. But last time he showed up in an Astros uniform was June 8th.
Yeah.
And we're now at July 24th.
Oh my gosh.
So
The worst oblique injury in the history of baseball.
I don't even want to talk obliques, but supposedly he's going to be in the lineup tomorrow. Hit some piss rods in Sugarland. He's one of those dudes that doesn't need much time to prepare. I know that he played 3 games in spring training and started off hot. So him just being in the lineup changes everything.
Yeah.
So I will stand up and cheer tomorrow when I see him come to bat and he's not scratched for an illness of some kind or some mysterious
Another
scratch on his oblique,
the other oblique
scratch on his ear or something. I don't know. But all signs are pointing to he is going to be in the lineup tomorrow night, and it'd be interesting. I'm assuming Blige Madras gets shipped to DFA land. I don't know. But I cannot wait to see him in the lineup. This lineup, it misses him and Altuve so much. I don't know anything on Altuve. No idea. It's all vague. All of a sudden now Brantley updates are coming back. I don't listen to any of them because I don't trust any of them.
I don't
What
either,
is
but I
that
did
about?
see some very mysterious tweets around, like Brantley's bat with the glove on it.
How many times have we done this in the last 14 months?
Yeah. That's true. Just interesting.
So it is. Neil, I'm gonna go back to you and your temp check. You said that this series doesn't make or break the year. I know what you're saying because there's 2 games left. Let me do the math. Yep, 6. Actually, yeah, we're 100 games. 62 games left. Oh, I've got 56 and 44.
Yeah, you're right. That's 100. I thought yesterday was 100. Today was 100.
Yeah. So if we somehow get swept by them, we're done. I mean, we're not winning the division. We're done.
That's not good. Yeah, I agree.
No, well, we won't catch them in 59 games, a 6-game, and that's what
not likely.
So, yeah, and I don't think we're going to get swept, but it's baseball, right? That game, I don't want to get negative again, but that game last night was a huge missed opportunity because they got pummeled by the Dodgers. And we just decided to run out of JV lineup and not pick up a game against the worst team in baseball. So that's what was irritating about last night, right?
Sure.
Because it could have been 2 games back. And if we sweep them, I think get ready. Get ready. They're in trouble. And I'm not going to predict that. We'll see how fired up we get here in a little while. But I do think 3 with the Rangers, 3 with the Rays, 3 with the Guardians. Yeah, I mean, this is going to push us one way or the other. You got to win this series against the team up north.
Yeah.
And
what did they do today?
We have what
today?
They won
came
today.
Back and beat the Dodgers.
Which I had to semi-root for the Dodgers this weekend. I had to take a shower every time, so I felt dirty.
Yeah.
Didn't
feel good.
That's terrible.
It?
That's one of those you wish
thoughts?
that they both lose.
Absolutely. So what do we have? BLAC tomorrow. They have 2 things on the range. I don't like calling them by their name. The team up north, they're skipping Evaldi, so there's some usage issues there, which is interesting. So we won't see him. And Corey Seager is on the DL, their best hitter. So we didn't have Jordan the last time. So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be an interesting series. I guess what it's Belak, France,
Yeah, Belak, France, and then
Framber.
which really this is where we are. But those three may be our best pitchers.
No,
As crazy as that is, that's where we are. I mean,
What's the
JP France.
what's the Urquidy news? Any news from him?
he's made 2 starts. They said
Yeah.
you're probably looking at another 2 rehab starts. Just to stretch him out because he hadn't pitched. So you're probably looking at he'll probably start in the next couple of days. Probably start at the end of the week. You're probably looking at 2 to 3 weeks, probably, maybe. Which leads us to the trade deadline, right?
Yeah.
And I know we've documented, we've talked, we've discussed, we've had opinions. I think we're going to go for a marginal starter and a marginal reliever.
That's what it sounds like.
Doesn't mean it
That's
can't
what
help. It can't. Well, it doesn't. I'm not saying it won't help us, but I just think with the way the market is and our trade capital, I mean, look, social media. Some of the stuff that's coming on social media is unbelievable.
Dumb.
What people are.
Dumb.
I mean, like this Dylan Cease, Luis Robert combo. That's never going to happen.
Nope.
It's just not going to happen. We don't have the ability to go against the Orioles, Diamondbacks, Dodgers. I mean, in those teams, but the White Sox would get tarred and feathered if they traded their best 2 players that have multiple years under control. It's just not going to happen. But people will put it out there. People will spew it out there on the social media, no doubt.
That's clickbait.
Yep, no, 100%.
Yeah.
And I mean, we need an A's in here, but we also need someone in the pen.
Yeah, I think that's probably the way that we ought to go. And I mean, again,
You think if you were him, if you were Dana Brown and you were in our situation, all the variables, that's the way you would go?
I think so. I think I know the bats are, Colorado and Oakland. They're not really just hot bats per se, but again, we're fixing to get hopefully Jordan and Altuve, and that just changes so much. That just changes the dynamic in my mind, and so I'm not saying we've had bad games or we haven't had bad games with those guys there, but I think everybody is going to be energized.
Okay.
I think we just liven up a little bit, and I think that the bats are going to solve itself, or they won't. But the pitching situation.
Yeah, but I think I was more saying marginal starter, marginal reliever. If you were Dana Brown, that's where you would go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So bats are off the table in my mind. So pitching is the thing. I still think a starter is number 1, and reliever is clearly a need. I mean, we've tried several guys, and we're wearing some guys down. I mean, we've seen the numbers on some of that, and they're just getting beat up. So we need somebody who can. So it's not always Maton, Neris, Abreu, and Presley closing it out per se, but those guys are just being used a lot, and I think they're obviously phenomenal pitchers. They're just tired.
It would be nice if we could get a blowout game and we could burn other guys.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and I will crack the door on Montero. I know I'm not ready to say he's back by any stretch of the imagination, but there's been some signs, and that's a guy that's the problem, right?
Be careful.
We have no. I said crack the door, and so that's a guy that we just cannot put in there, who's an anchor, right? I mean, Dusty's doing his little here and there's. But when you've got him and Seth Martinez, who you don't really want to use, and then whatever, Mushinski, I think got called up today. I mean, you're not throwing him in unless it's a blowout. So again, we're getting into these spots to where we're playing these close games and it's the same guys, which yes, that's good because we'd go crazy if they put Montero in a tied ball game.
Mm.
But these guys only have so many innings in their arms, and we're wearing them out. So yes, I think a relief pitcher is a need.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna say this real quick for those that don't understand options. We are running out of options, and I don't mean like we're running out of options, meaning we are optioning people back and forth to minor leagues. We are burning people's actual options. I don't have the time to go into it, but you can't keep bringing up and down, up and down. There's a certain limit to it in a year. There's a certain limit to based on where they are in their contract. They're supposed to stay down when they get optioned down the minors for a certain amount of time, unless there's an injury. We are burning through a lot of players, especially bullpen arms options, and the 40-man roster. And this is again, we'll dive into this later at another time, but there's gonna be some massive cleanup. But it's gonna be interesting to see what happens around the trade deadline because we are burning through pitchers and relievers big time. Parker Mashinsky has been called up. I think this is his third time.
Yeah.
Third or fourth. Like he's getting close to his limit.
Between Blanco, Dubin, Gage,
Blanco, exactly. Gage,
Cunell, all those guys has been up, down, up, down, up, down. And
Dubin's been up, down twice.
It's a matter of time. So that's where we are. And that's why we need some help in that area in my mind.
Okay. Couple questions for both y'all.
All right.
62 games left. How many games does Altuve play of those 62? Brian, I'm going to you first.
I mean, oh my gosh. And so that's assuming that he comes back soon. I think.
Exactly.
Geez. Assuming he comes back soon. Let's say he comes back in the next 2 weeks. Optimistically, he comes back in the next 2 weeks. I think he gets at least one game a series for the first few series, and then a game a week off for the remainder. So let's go with 48 out of the remaining 60.
I hope you're right. There is no chance he's playing 48 games. I hope you're right. I hope I can go back here and say, Brian, you nailed it. Neil?
So looking at where we are, right? So 6 games next week or this coming week. And then we play because we go Rangers, then we go Rays, then we go Guardians, then we go on the road for 4 against New York. So that's 6, and then 6 more, 7 more, there's 13. So that puts you at Dorton's 48-ish, 47-ish. And then we go to, oh man, this is a brutal stretch run at New York for 4. I know they're at the bottom or near the bottom of the AL East, but still the Yankees. And then we go to Baltimore. I mean, it's a stab in the dark because, of course, we hear nothing. We know nothing. We hadn't seen anything. It's an oblique. Jordan was out 6 weeks. I mean, what's to say Altuve's not? I mean, I have no idea.
You know what I would say? I know. No, none of us do. Yeah, that's why I pray Dorton's number's right, because that would be incredible.
Yeah.
But you're right. None of us know. But let me tell you how low I would set this. There's 62 games left. And if you told me, CK, set an over and under for Altuve games remaining in the year in regular season to play, you know what I've set it at? And I'm not stealing this from anywhere. It's just in my mind, factoring everything in. If I was stealing this from somewhere, I would write that source. I'm just saying, I looked at this today while I was watching the game. I would set the over and under at 34 and a half.
Oh gosh.
Well, think about it. He's not going to be here for the next 9.
Yeah.
So now you're down to 53 games.
Yeah.
Who says so? Are we sure he's going to make that Yankees series? No. So now let's take those 4 off. Now you're 49. So when he comes back, is he going to play every day?
No way.
I mean, I'm 34 and a half, 35 and a half. Which way do you go there? Now you're like, well, I hope to go over, but is he really going to go over? Is he going to stay healthy? I mean, that's my concern when I obviously sarcastically text you, Neil and Brian, on the phone, or our text messages were reversed. It's foam domers. Are you sure we don't need a bat?
No.
Because if I'm doing this for Altuve, what do you think I'm about to ask you two guys about the big man?
Yeah, just how many, play a day, off a day, play 2 days.
You need
off
the
a
big
day.
man. If the big man comes back tomorrow, you need the big man in there for every single game.
I think if he's back, he's playing. Because he,
I agree. He can deal.
plays.
I agree.
Yeah. I think big man's a little bit different than Altuve.
I agree with you, Jordan, but he just took a random swing and was out 6 weeks. Like, he wasn't hit. He didn't pull. I mean, he took a swing of the bat and he turned into a ghost for 6 or 7 weeks.
Yeah.
Any thoughts there on either of those?
When did Altuve go down? After the Rangers series or during the Rangers series?
Which time?
This last injury.
I don't even know, man, anymore.
Wait.
I'm just saying,
he was
like,
out.
I think it was Rockies.
No, I don't know.
I didn't mean to. Doubt. I don't even.
I'm just saying, like.
Yeah,
I think the number.
I'm thinking of.
I think the number is
6 weeks.
I think the number is. I think the number to set the line to get people on both sides is 35 and a half. Like, what are you going to take? I don't know. I'm probably going under, unfortunately.
Well,
hope I'm wrong.
If that's the case, we've got issues.
He's not going to play.
I mean,
Neil, he's not going to play every game, every series when he's back. He had when he came back the first time.
We got big issues.
Yeah,
if he's not a part of this.
I know. All right. Any closing thoughts on that topic?
No, that's pretty grim.
I know. But
that's
pretty
grim.
You have to break down if you break down the schedule that way, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's annoying.
Yeah. Well, let's see. We'll see tomorrow when whether or not how dusty this lineup is going to be, and whether or not big man's on it.
Man, please be on it. So
please,
I'm gonna play one more game, and then we're gonna move on to, unless there's something else you guys want to bring up.
No. Let's go.
Okay. I'm gonna play one more game. And this game is going to be player A, player B.
Okay.
Okay. I'll go slow. I'm going to give you player A slash line, OPS, and OPS plus. Okay? I'm going to
Okay.
do the same thing for player B.
Okay.
Player A. 236 batting average, 289 on base, 396 slug. OPS would be 665. OPS plus is 84.
Okay.
Okay. Y'all got it?
Yep.
Player B, 282 batting average, 372 on base, 520 slug, 892 OPS, OPS plus 145. These are both for the year of 2023, full year.
Okay.
So any individual that has any kind of brain would say, who is the higher performing offensive player?
It
B.
sounds like B, player B.
That would be correct.
But I know you.
No.
I've known you for a
This is
long
not trick.
time.
You have, but this is not a trick question. You are correct.
Okay.
No.
But
It
yeah,
is.
no, from a numbers perspective,
it's
it's
not.
obviously B. Yeah.
By the advanced metric of OPS
Yeah.
plus, that
It's
player B is 61% better offensive player. Like
Yeah.
that,
No.
it is that without having to break down everything. If you just go to OPS plus, he is a 61% better offensive player. Okay,
There's no question.
Player B hits seventh, and player A hits second.
There it is.
Yes.
There it is.
There it is.
Player
Yeah.
A. Any guesses who player A is?
Jokes.
No.
Pena.
No, it's not. Yes,
Pena.
it's Pena. Any guess who player B is?
Chaz.
Ding, ding.
Otani.
As Apollo
It's
Creed.
Otani.
As Apollo Creed would say, ding, ding. And we decide that Pena should be the number 2 hitter 5 places ahead of the lineup over the current AL player of the week, who since June 3rd, to Dorton's point, has the highest WRC plus, which is the same as OPS plus, very similar, other than one person, and that is Shohei Ohtani. But let's bat him 7th and not up at the top of the line.
Dusty.
Okay.
I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
If you just took on base percentage, he is 83 points higher in on base percentage. And Neil and I made this reference point last week at coaching school, which, by the way, I would like to shout out to all the coaches out there that listen to the podcast, because I had multiple come up to me at our vendor booth, and I met a bunch of Neil's staff through him that listen to the podcast. What a great bunch of dudes. And had a lot of people come up and just talk to us and meet me for the first time, meet Neil for the first time. Really cool. Trying to explain this, it's like we have 3 heads. Like, it's not that hard of what is going on with lineup construction. We had Larry, the GM, on as a guest 2 weeks ago. Larry and myself, because I know he's going to listen to this. We went back and forth on lineup construction today, as Neil noted in our text message on Twitter. He says lineup construction doesn't matter. I love Larry. Lineup construction always matters when you have crap like this. I'm off my rant.
I did text Larry on the side and said, keep it going. I love it. I said
You-
I've dealt with him for 35, 40 years. I love it.
But I'm not even trying to be right. The numbers scream.
I know. Well, if lineup construction doesn't matter, then Otani should bat seventh or eighth.
Right.
Right.
Thank you. Yeah.
I mean, it does.
Let's bat the
It does.
Let's bat the unicorn eighth.
I mean,
Right.
Maldonado should be leadoff then.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. Start every game
But
with an out.
It does.
Which, by the way, it was a little disheartening to land yesterday and learn that our prediction of Shohan to the Astros might not be a reality. And I was I was disappointed in
What?
hearing that might not be happening. I thought it was a done deal, but oh well.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna get traded because I don't think the Angels have the balls to trade him.
You don't think so?
No, I don't. I really don't. I don't. That's a
They
story
just-
for another day
they-
too. But
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
Any subjects regarding current state of the team or players or that y'all want to bring up? I've been on my rant. I feel like I've ranted enough.
No, I mean I think it's just an exciting series, a home series versus the Rangers. Looking forward to that the next couple of days, and that's going to be fun to watch and see what happens. I mean, this week's a huge week, not because of just necessarily who we play, but just the trades that are about to go down. You know,
Yeah.
that's the part that I am looking forward to, and who blinks first and who makes what moves. I mean, I think there's going to be some dominoes rolling as far as somebody thought they were going to get somebody and they don't, and then they're going to have to go to someplace else and compete. And I just there's so much competition for the guys that are out there that's the part that I am just fired up about. This should be a really fun week, an interesting week of baseball across the board, and not just because the Rangers and Rays are coming to town, but just with all the trade activity that's fixing to shake out. And it's not, the deadline is the 31st, which is 2 Mondays away, but I don't know. I think that's going to be the fun part of getting this, hitting August running. That's going to be pretty badass to me.
It's about it's less than what? It's a little over a week. It's about to get crazy in a hurry.
Yeah,
but that's
it
the really
best part of
is.
baseball.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah,
love it.
no doubt. I'm interested to see if there's any kind of difference maker that gets traded. I don't know. We'll see. Because there's so few, and there's so many teams that are in the hold pattern. So Dome Foam, we're gonna move to Dome Foam Player of the Week. This should be short. I'm gonna let Neil go ahead and lead
Hey.
off, and because you would do a better job leading off, or at least hitting second than some of the people that Dusty puts in the lineup. So Neil, who is your Dome Foam Player of the Week?
So last week I went with Kyle Tucker, and that's one of the ones that you guys are probably going to take. So I'm going to go to another route, and I'm going to go with Alex Bregman. So for the week for the last 7 games, batting .407, on base percentage is .467 with a slugging of .889. We need this guy. We need this guy to be the guy that we've kind of grown up to the last couple of years doing what he does and making it who he is. I mean, he's still batting .250 overall, but 16 home runs, he's 63 RBIs, and I just think he's a guy that can recognize when it's on. And I'm hoping that this little fire trend that he's on continues, and so he's my Dome Foam Player of the Week.
Love it.
That's a good one. He's starting, 3 straight games in the home run.
Yep.
The only run last night against a guy with a 10 ERA in the month of July. I'll leave it at that. Jordan, do you want to go or do you want me to go?
No, mine's super easy. So it is not that I've been in the dark here. I have been daily keeping up with the Astros for the past 3 weeks here. However, I've only had the opportunity to watch a full game, and that full game was today, and pretty easy player of the week for me just from the game that I watched. And I think we know who it is. My man, Mauricio. He's going to be my player of the week one more time. That's right.
God. Wow, I did not see that happening. Actually, then now the more I think about it, I did.
Yeah.
Hey,
come on, man.
I don't know. I guess
after hitting
I guess they
a
can.
game-winning jack today, like this is he's just he needs me in this country. He needs me rooting him on, and I'm going to be there for you, Dubon.
That's
I'm
the
going to be
problem.
right
You know
there
what?
with you.
His 3 weeks while you were gone weren't great.
They were not. They were not.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is.
So he needs me here. I'm here for you. I'm gonna root you on here on this in this continent, and we're gonna be good to go.
Okay, well, that makes it
Good
easy.
grief.
This is the first time you've ever been easy on me. So thank you,
All right.
because I had Bregman as one possibility, and the other one as Kyle Tucker with his 3 home runs 2
Piece of
nights.
cake.
Yeah. Thank you for the soft toss, because I've had some where I've gone last and I've had to scramble. So Tucker's been awesome. He is.
He is.
He
It's going to
he
be a
got in
shame to see him go.
Oh, yeah. He got in this little singles game for a while, which we're like, oh, he's getting hits, but he's not. But man, he is driving the ball. Some of the stats on him. Did you see on the broadcast yesterday that he's had, what was it? Jose Altuve in 17, Carl Everett in 1999, and Kyle Tucker, the best slash lines for like a 3-week period in Astros history.
Oh wow.
I
Like
did
that's what
see
we're
that.
seeing. I'm shocked that Bagwell and Berkman went on that list. But you know how they do. I mean, they can make stats. So they condense it to like I don't know what the actual, it was like a 20-game span. And those 3 slash lines were unreal. Yeah, he's been money. He gets my downfall. So there's nothing else to be said. It's been all over the telecast. He's carried the team.
Yeah.
He's been a hell of a player while Jordan's been out. And when
Yeah.
he's driving some of those bombs he hit the other night, I think one was 472.
Bombs.
That's
Good,
ridiculous.
470.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he's up to 17 homers, batting over 300 now. OPS almost at 9. So there's no doubt he's
There is someone that
feeling
took him plus 4,000 for the MVP. Just saying. Just saying.
back in the game.
We've heard.
Yeah, man. Thought we were dead for a while. Now the door just has creaked open a little bit, just a little bit. It's creaked open.
when it kind of matters the most, really.
Yeah, I like what you think. I'm glad you're back. So the next segment is mine that I do, the prospect of the week, and I debated doing an actual prospect or someone we just drafted. So I'm going to go quickly, and I decided to go with our second round pick, someone that we just drafted, Alonzo Treadwell, for UCLA, 6'8", 230, right-handed pitcher. Drafted 61 overall. Second, they signed him. They signed 19 of their 20 picks, which is awesome. They had to go a little bit over slot for him, a couple $100,000, which isn't much. Plus fastball, plus slider, plus control, which to me is the most important. 113 Ks in 92 innings, and a 2.83 ERA in his career at UCLA. He had Tommy John in high school. He's from California. Again, 6'8", 230, Alonzo Treadwell. I talked to my scout buddy who, works for the Phillies. and said that he was definitely on their radar. He's on a lot of radars, plus arm. They think he's got a couple more miles an hour with a fastball. So we'll see. But I mean, Lord knows we need pitching in the system. So it'll be interesting to see where they put him, if he's just in the Florida Complex League this year, if they put him out in the A ball. I have watched him a couple times on TV in college. I mean, good player, good live arm. It'll be interesting to see what happens with him. Big kid. Any questions or anything on that, Neil? Nope.
No, looking forward.
All right.
That's trade piece.
Anytime we
yes,
draft
no.
Well, no, not because he was just drafted, so no.
I mean, drafted. Yeah. True.
But anytime we draft someone that high, a pitcher, you want to know that name because Lord knows we need him in the system.
No
and I'm gonna do a shout out real quick because I'm a big fan of Ryan Clifford, and I saw on Twitter. I can't remember who said this, so I will have to follow or find it. But of all the minor league hitters, Ryan Clifford, who's been a prospect of the week on this, I believe, episode 2, he is second when it comes to WRC plus in the minor leagues, in all minor leagues of anyone that's a teenager. Number one is Jackson Holliday, who was the number 1 overall pick last year and is Matt Holliday's son. Absolute stud for the Orioles, who are loaded. And number 2 is Ryan Clifford at 19 years old. He's got like a 156 WRC plus. That is not bad for a kid that's 19 in high A ball.
That's awesome.
The future's bright. And don't trade him. Don't do it.
Yeah, any of the future stuff that we look at, and he's all over the place. He's the name.
Shout out to
now,
astrosfuture.com and Astros Future on Twitter, because that's where I get a lot of my stuff preparing for the prospect of the week, and I just like following that stuff. So they do a great job. Awesome. Jordan, do you have a question?
Nope. I think that's awesome. I think that's great.
Okay. So now we're going to move on to the segment that we have sponsored by the Victoria Equipment Auction and the Throwback Player of the Week. So at Victoria Equipment Auction, their number 1 goal is to get you the best price for your equipment in a hassle-free, professional manner. Whether you're part of a large corporation looking to clear old equipment in your inventory, or an individual interested in selling single piece, Victoria Equipment Auction is ready to go to work for you. Just drop off your equipment and they will take care of the rest. We have a connection to Victoria Equipment Auction. Go to their website, call Clay at 361-935-2444. They have an auction August 12th that I've been invited to. We've all been invited to. I'm the closest because it's in San Antonio, so I will be going. Great people. They will take care of you. Get on their website, give them a call, and they sponsor Neil's Throwback Player of the Week. So, Neil, there you go.
Lima time.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Jose Lima. And, boy, let me tell you.
Oh, Lord.
He was not that good. Man. I mean, I remember him, being pretty dang good. And I remember plenty of times that I would, have my choice words for Jose Lima, but man, he was the show. He would light up a room. If there was a camera on him, he'd eat it up. And I guess part of that was the intrigue of Jose Lima. So Jose Lima, Desiderio Rodriguez Lima is his full name, from Santiago, Dominican Republic, born September 30th, 1972, and unfortunately has already passed away.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Rest in peace.
May 23rd, 2010, of an apparent heart attack. So Lima originally came up with the Detroit Tigers in 1994 at 21, making a start against the Royals, and then spent 3 years with Detroit and was traded to the Houston Astros in December of 1996 in a huge eight-player trade. Get that out right. Talk to me about who those 8 players were.
Mm.
I don't even know. I don't even. Yeah,
So
I'm usually pretty good on some of this stuff.
Yeah.
That one, I have no idea.
So the first one is Brad Dorton Osmus,
Oh boy.
Trevor
Man, I
Miller.
didn't know that.
Trevor Miller, C.J. Nitkowski, and Daryl Ward.
No
I
way.
can't stand CJ Nikowski. He's on the Major League Baseball Network, and he is one of the Rangers, and he's the Jeff Blum of the Rangers.
Oh, wow.
But not
So-
near as
he-
good.
No.
Yeah. So we get Lima, Osmus, Trevor Miller, Nitkowski, and Daryl Ward. We send them Christian Doug Brocail, who I can't stand,
Okay. Oh,
I can't either.
Brian Hunter, Todd Jones, Orlando Miller, and some cash, right? So 1996, a huge 8-player deal. brings
Okay,
Lima time.
back up. When
Sure.
was what day in '96 was this trade? Does it
December
say?
10. December 10,
So we were already graduated.
correct.
So this was freshman year in college. That is what, an 8-9 player trade?
8-player trade.
Is there a more spare 8-player trade ever in the history of Major League Baseball?
It sounded like 8 guys needed a fresh start.
Yeah.
That is as spare gets right there.
Yeah, pretty impressive. Pretty I mean, talk about the
Hell, Lima might be
kicker.
the best player in that group.
I don't think there's any doubt. Well,
Mm,
the most notable one. I'll say that.
I don't know.
So-
Osmus is
I mean, I
still
don't
in
I don't have
he's
the numbers
coaching
in-
right now. At least
I
he's
don't-
still.
I don't have the numbers in
the
front of
league.
me, but like, who was a better player?
Nor should you.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, Brian Hunter.
Right.
Brian Hunter actually
He was good.
a,
He was good for a couple of years. Yeah,
a formidable Major League Baseball player. I think
he didn't.
stole
He
him.
wasn't around long.
No, he had speed. Which I think he had 70-something stolen bases one year, something crazy for Detroit. Anyways, so that trade goes down. We get Lima time. So in '97, he actually spent most of his time as a relief pitcher, and actually got into 52 games. Right, so had a couple saves. ERA, he was 1-6, 5.28 ERA. 98, he comes around, becomes a starter, goes 16-8 with a 3.7 ERA, does well. But really, 1999 became the deal where he goes 21-10 with a 3.58 ERA. So 98, 99 were his 2 big years, winning 16 games in 98. 99, he won 21 games. So he was a 20-game winner.
Wow.
And that was it. It goes downhill after that. He goes 7-16, and then 1-2.
I remember.
and
I
ends
remember
up-
after the 20-game year, it went bad quickly.
And then
Yeah,
then started the some desert years.
yeah. So
Yeah.
you know, he in 2000 in 2000 he had a 6.65 ERA, gave up 48 home runs, and think about
48 home runs in 1 year.
You got it, which was too shy of the single season record held by Bert Blyleven.
Wow.
Yeah,
That
So,
is
obviously,
a lot of home runs.
No, that is
yeah. So
good-
obviously,
that is some good marketing that we still know about Lima time. Period. I mean,
man,
rest in peace, but like, man, the fact that we still know that name is some good
Sure.
marketing right there.
Yes, there's no doubt. His salsa dancing, all that kind of stuff, and I started digging around a little bit more. Jim Rome. I clicked on something about Jim Rome. Jim Rome swears that he was one of his top 5 best guys to interview of all time. Like, he absolutely loved him. And matter of fact, he made a deal with Lima. Lima gave Jim Rome his 20th win, the game ball from that. So it was a big deal. Whatever. So anyway, yeah, Lima. I mean, he leaves us, spends time with Kansas City, or goes back to Detroit actually in 01, and then spends time with the Royals, Dodgers, back to the Royals, and then ends with the Mets. But for his time in Houston, he was 46-42 with a 4.77 ERA. His career record was 89-102 with a 5.62 ERA. So in 13 seasons, 89 wins, 102 losses. Not phenomenal. And David Ortiz and him were apparently good buddies.
Yeah, I
And
remember
actually,
that.
when David Ortiz won the 2010 Home Run Derby, he actually gave a shout out to Jose Lima. So Jose Lima again had his 2 years. Exciting, fun player to just, his energy was off the charts. People loved everything that was about him. I mean, it was Lima time, and he ate that up, and so did we. I mean, there was,
Yeah,
it was exciting. But the
it was
numbers,
good for a
the
short
numbers,
period of time.
yeah, the numbers just weren't there to sustain a long-term career. Although he did pitch for 13 years, but that was a crazy time for Jose Lima to win 20 games in '99, and then you end up pitching in Enron, and things change.
Yeah, big
And
time.
that was a big factor.
Well, good job on the throwback player of the week. Yeah, I mean, I love the reminiscent side of it because you kind of can remember where you were or how old we were. How good were the Astros, and it's cool. It's I say this every week. You've done a great job with it. It's just interesting to kind of reminisce. Obviously, being Astros fans for 40+ years. So, good job. Let's get into weekly predictions, and then we're going to wrap this bad boy up. So, we play the team up north for 3 games, and then the Tampa Bay Rays for 3 games. So, and we've got our Irishman back for the weekly predictions. So we're going to throw him right into the fire.
Let's do it.
And let's see what Mr. Dorton thinks that's going to happen for the weekly numbers. Because off day is Thursday,
6.
Isn't that right? Yeah, off day is Thursday,
Off
right?
day Thursday, so we've got 3 with the Rangers, 3 with the Rays. So 6. So Dorton's back and Jordan's back. So both.
We hope.
Hopefully, but we're hoping that the 2 of us can help propel the Astros to a good week here. So I'm gonna, man, God, who's starting tomorrow? It's Belak starting tomorrow. Huh? It's okay. Belak, Frenchie, and then Framber. So I would say I'm going to go ahead and just go out on a limb here and say we take 2 of 3 from the Rangers. That's 2. Because Jordan and I'm going to say it again. Jordan and I are back, and this is going to be a good thing. So we're going to take 2 out of 3 from the Rangers. Then we get the Rays at home. Maybe we get another 2. I'm not sure if we take both of these series, and that's me being positive. So I'm going to say we take the team from the north 2 out of 3, and we unfortunately time expires before we can score enough runs from the Tampa Bays. So we go 1-3. So we're 3-3 on the week.
Man, so glad we waited for that.
The bad thing
Love
is,
him. I love that he's back.
Worth it.
But yeah. All right, Neil.
the
You gotta
bad
follow
thing is
that.
I'm not far off. I mean, to say that we're going to beat the Rangers 2 out of 3 and the Rays 2 out of 3 while struggling with the Rockies and the A's just to squeak by. I mean, there's granted, Jordan, if he's there, that makes me feel a little bit better. But the reality is, our pitching, it worries me against the Rays, because that means we would get Javier,
Hunter Brown.
who
Brown and
gross. Would we
He
start
didn't
back
pitch
over
that bad today.
against the A's?
True. That's completely fair.
So
The triple
I'm
A's
gonna.
who beat us.
one of those balls
I'm-
that got hit off 100 just landed a
Oh.
little bit ago.
Yeah. That had a stewardess on it.
I'm going to say 4-2, just to not be what Dorton is. But boy, I want to scream 3-3. Yeah,
You guys. You guys. You guys. I love both of y'all. Let's all take a look at that picture behind Dorton's head. Who is that? Who's that guy?
Your
That is
daddy.
the best hitter. Yes, hitter in Major League Baseball. The best. I'll take all arguments. Bring it to me. I'll shoot numbers. He doesn't play a full season. That's the best and most imposing hitter in Major League Baseball. Because he's back, we are sweeping the team up north.
Yeah.
We're
doing it.
All right.
We're doing it. If we can
Sweeping.
take 3 out of 4, sweeping. We took 3 out of 4 with him without Altuve, without Fromber, without Jordan in Canada. Did we not?
We did.
We did. They do not have Uvalde. They don't have Seager. We've got Jordan back. I'm predicting, get out the brooms. It's a tie series after the next 3 days. It's tied in the division. Straight tie.
That would be incredible.
Gosh, I hope you're right.
That would
And
be
yes, I'm well
incredible.
aware that it sounds crazy, but that is what Jordan means to this team. And I don't expect him to single-handedly beat him, but I expect him being in the lineup. That means one of these weak-ass dudes that Dusty likes to start from AAA is not in the lineup. So that really helps. So we are going to sweep the team up north. The Rays are going to beat us once. We're going to go 5-1 and put our stamp on the week.
Right.
I
And
like
let's
it.
roll.
I hope you're right.
Love
man.
it.
And I have no faith in any of that other than the fact that your daddy is back. And that's what I'm going with.
I love it. I love it. I really hope you're
predicted-
right.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I predicted we were going to get to 95 wins. That would be helpful for that. So, yeah.
Well, we'll see. We don't play the games they do, but as we've stated, we're extremely excited to see the big man back. He's been gone far too long. And again, he makes everyone better just showing up in the lineup. Boys, a couple things I want to say before we wrap it up is it's going to be a good week of baseball. I appreciate y'all's time, y'all being here. Episode 13. For those that have liked, shared, and followed, I've met a bunch of y'all last week. Thank y'all so much. We've grown every week. I have learned that we're asking people to rate and review. It helps the podcast. I used to think it was like, share, and follow, which it does matter. But if you listen on a regular basis, rate, review, give us feedback. I know Neil's gotten a little bit of feedback on social media. I've gotten a little bit back. A lot of it's been positive. We'll take the negative too. We're on all the socials. Neil is our TikToker of the group, and he's putting out content, and some of it is hilarious. I have to give a shout out to Neil because I'm trying to get up to speed on that. That is the weirdest website, social media app I've ever seen in my life. I can barely even figure out how to post. So major credit to Neil on that. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. I run the Twitter a lot of the times. And we post obviously on various things, just trying to get the word out there. So as I always say, tell your mom, have your mom tell somebody. We're just Astros fans. And what I love about it is we don't have to be tied to anything. We do listen to other podcasts to get to try to make ourselves better and see what's out there. I want to be completely honest. There's not a lot that's out there like us, just because we're opinionated and we've been around for 40 years watching the Astros. So thank y'all for giving us a try. Rate, review, like, share, follow. Dorton, anything you want to say before we wrap it up?
Glad to be back, man. Glad to be back. Glad to be back. That's it.
Homeland.
Had a great time.
No, he came back.
It's time to be back.
He was at the homeland. He's in foreign territory now.
Oh, also, it's hot. It is hot here.
Yeah.
Dorton gave us a destination in the Irish countryside when he was leaving. And as I sent this, he knows I sent this to him and Neil on text message yesterday. It felt like 58 degrees at that near town where his family is from. True. And when he landed at Bush Intercontinental, it felt like 114. So welcome back, Dorton.
Jeans were a terrible choice to wear on the flight. Let me just put it that way. When I landed, they immediately just stuck to me. It was awful.
Well, episode 13 is done. We'll have this out and about on all the platforms tomorrow. And with all that being said, boys, go Stros.
Go Stros.
Go Stros.